You're here because you want to cut through the noise and get to the heart of things quickly. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something that's, well, a massive part of our world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether you're actively involved or maybe just curious, how we talk about games.
Exactly. We've got some really interesting material here that looks at the language we use, when discussing everything from the latest video game releases to classic board games.
Right, even like playground games.
Yeah, and it's not just about learning vocabulary lists. It's more like a window into how we experience these things, how we value different kinds of entertainment.
So, our mission today is basically to pull out the most interesting, the most useful insights from this source material.
Hmm.
We're talking key terms, the everyday ways people actually discuss games, and maybe even some of the grammar underneath it all that shapes these
With
conversations.
the goal being.
So you can walk away with a real understanding of how people connect through games. It doesn't really matter what your own gaming habits are. Maybe you just want to understand the culture better.
Or engage with online communities, international ones even.
Totally. And we're covering a lot of ground. Video games console, PC, multiplayer, single player, open world,
All that. Plus board games, card games.
and even physical games, sports, kids games. It's a pretty broad spectrum.
It is, and that breadth is important, I think.
Yeah.
It really highlights uh, how deeply ingrained games are in our culture in so many different ways. The way this material breaks it down gives us a good framework.
Okay, let's get into the vocabulary then. Video games. You immediately think of the big console names, right? PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo.
Yeah, it's almost like tribes, as you said.
Mm.
Mentioning one instantly brings up certain games, maybe certain online communities.
Exactly. The platform isn't just hardware.
No, it's tied to franchises, ecosystems, and then you've got PC gaming. The material mentions a preference for it being smoother.
Right. Smoother. What does that even signal?
Well, that one word hints at a lot, like higher frame rates, better graphics maybe,
Mm.
stuff PC gamers often really focus on and, discuss in detail.
Okay. And the difference between multiplayer and single player, that's huge too.
Massive.
The example, I love multiplayer games I can play with my friends online. That really hits home. It's about the social connection for so many people.
Absolutely. Shared experiences, virtual hangouts, these online spaces have become really significant social hubs.
You contrast that with open world games. The material mentions GTA, Zelda, names most people probably recognize.
Well, instantly recognizable. And the core appeal there is often that sense of freedom, right? Personal discovery in these massive digital landscapes.
That idea of large areas to explore seems fundamental.
It is. It's key to their design and how players talk about them, the exploration, the possibilities.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Board games. Names like Monopoly, chess, Scrabble. They're practically universal.
Everyone has a story, usually involving Monopoly and losing spectacularly.
Ah, right. They're often tied to memories, family time, maybe arguments. What makes them stick around, do you think?
Well, often it's that mix, isn't it? Simple rules, generally, but with a surprising amount of strategic depth. Plus, that face-to-face interaction.
That's different from online play.
Very different.
Yeah.
And then you look at card games. You've got the intensity of poker on one end, and then like the pure fun of Uno on the other. A huge range.
Yeah, different moods, different complexities, and finally, the physical games, breaking them down into team sports.
Like football, basketball.
Solo stuff like tennis or golf,
Right.
and then just kids' games like tag or hide and seek. It shows how play is just part of life, always.
Precisely. Whether it's super structured like pro sports or totally spontaneous like kids chasing each other, there's that common thread. Engaging in something for fun, maybe with a bit of challenge.
Okay, so we've got the types of games covered. Now, what about the phrases? How do people actually talk about playing? For video games, you hear things like, I've been playing this game for hours.
Yeah, that tells you a lot immediately, doesn't it? About engagement, maybe even obsession.
Could be. What's behind that?
It really speaks to how immersive games can be, how they just pull you in and time disappears. And the follow-up you sometimes hear, it's so addictive I can't stop playing.
Uh-huh.
That highlights the powerful reward loops in many games. That sense of progress or achievement that keeps you hooked.
Then you get comments about the look. The graphics are amazing. Huge selling point these days.
Definitely. Visual fidelity matters.
But then someone else might say, I like games that have a good story. Shows it's not all about looks. Narrative counts, too.
Exactly. These little comments reveal what different players value. Technical brilliance versus, say, compelling storytelling. And who hasn't said, or at least thought, This level is really hard.
Oh, yeah. Universal gamer frustration.
That moment of hitting a wall and then the satisfaction when you finally beat it, it's part of the experience.
Looking at board games, that phrase, "it's a classic game, easy to play, hard to master," really nails it for things like chess, doesn't it?
Perfectly. The rules are simple, but the strategy goes deep. That's why they last. Accessibility plus depth.
And the classic Monopoly line. I always lose at Monopoly.
It's almost obligatory. A running joke? Kind of. Speaks to the luck involved, maybe the ruthless side it brings out in people.
And the simple social aspect. We had a game night last Friday. It was fun.
Right. It emphasizes connection. Often, it's as much about the hanging out and laughing together as it is about who wins. Then preferences. I'm more into strategy games than action games. That clearly draws a line.
Defines your style. Or, being more specific, I don't really like first-person shooters.
Yeah, it shows how nuanced taste can be, even within big genres. It's about finding what clicks for you.
Which loops back to, I prefer games that I can play with friends.
Underlining that social motivation again, it's a huge driver for a lot of players.
Now, the material we looked at had a short dialogue snippet. Two people, A and B, talking FIFA and Zelda.
Yeah, that was a neat little example.
It's amazing how much gets conveyed so quickly.
What's striking is how efficient it is. B says they've been playing FIFA a lot. Mentions playing online with friends. Boom, specific game. Social aspect covered.
Right. Then A immediately contrasts that. Prefers adventure games, mentions Zelda, praises its beautiful open world.
So in just a couple of lines, you've got different genres, different platforms implied, and different values highlighted: social play versus immersive exploration.
It's a really concise illustration of how gamers talk.
And you can see the vocabulary and phrases we just discussed woven right in. Playing a lot lately implies time investment.
Online with friends, multiplayer.
Beautiful open world. Visuals, exploration. It flows naturally.
The material also touches on grammar, which might sound a bit dry, but it's useful for understanding how we talk about gaming habits over time, like the present simple.
Right. Phrases like, I play games every evening, or I usually play with my brother.
What does that tense tell us?
It establishes routine, habit. This is a regular part of their life. It sets the baseline.
Okay. Then there's the present perfect, used for recent stuff or experiences. I've been playing this game all week.
Or, I've never played that one before.
How does that add to the conversation?
Well, the present perfect connects the past to now. I've been playing all week. Because maybe you're deep into it, or maybe tired of it now.
And I've never played that is a clear statement about current experience or lack thereof. Opens the door for recommendations, maybe?
Exactly. It adds that sense of current relevance. And finally, used to for past habits that aren't true anymore.
Like, I used to play board games with my family every weekend.
Or, I didn't used to play online, but now I do.
This helps us understand how things change, how someone's gaming journey has evolved.
Yeah, it shows shifts in preferences or lifestyle. And sharing those past experiences can be a good way to connect with other gamers, build a bit of rapport.
Absolutely. And stepping back, looking at the bigger picture, games are just so much more than a hobby these days.
Oh, definitely. They're a major cultural force,
Yeah.
a shared language for billions globally.
So understanding how to talk about them is pretty key to engaging with all that.
Yeah,
The material even mentions learning English through games. Listen in English, talk about games, watch streamers, learn the specific vocabulary.
which is interesting. But even if language learning isn't your main goal, those same activities are great ways to just immerse yourself in the gaming culture.
Right, to understand the online chats, the communities, what people are talking about internationally.
And what's cool is that trying to learn the language through games actually deepens your understanding of how games are discussed by native speakers. It works both ways.
That suggestion to switch your game language to English, that's a real commitment.
It is, but for someone serious about getting the nuances of gaming talk, it's probably quite effective. Takes engagement up a level.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. What have we pulled out from this deep dive into the language of games?
Well, we've looked at the huge range of words used to categorize games, video games, board games, all sorts.
From the high-tech stuff to the timeless classics.
Right. And we've unpacked some common phrases people use, sharing experiences, preferences.
Even frustrations, like that hard level.
Exactly. And we touched on a few grammar points just to see how they help track gaming habits over time.
Ultimately, though, it's not just about knowing the words themselves. It's more about getting a faster track to understanding a big slice of modern culture.
And feeling more confident joining that conversation if you want to.
Which brings up maybe a final thought for you to consider.
Hmm.
Think about the specific words people choose. Why emphasize smoothness for PCs? Why call a game addictive? Why label some classic?
Yeah, that's interesting. Does that language maybe reflect deeper cultural values,
Yeah.
what we prioritize in our leisure? Things like tech, engagement, tradition, social bonds.
Could be. So maybe pay attention next time you hear people talking about games, whether it's your friends or online. What words did they use?
And what might those words reveal about what really matters to them and maybe to us as a culture?
Hmm.
Something to think about.